Hello and welcome to Saturday, October 5th, 2024 with Jason Shapiro from crowdedmarketreport.com. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of a recession. To me, in my opinion, it strikes me that the world has put itself in a place where we cannot afford to have a recession. Okay? There's too much debt out there. There's too much borrowing out there. And if there were a recession, it seems like it would just be catastrophic, and nobody wants that. So we cannot have a recession anymore. We don't put up with them. So to avoid that, clearly what the people in charge of things like monetary policy have decided is that they're just going to continuously create liquidity in any form that they can. And they have a bunch of different ways they can do this. China used 3 or 4 different ways themselves. And even when they're out of ways, they just create new ways, right? And this has been the answer since 2008 when they created all this liquidity, and that saved the financial system of the world. And now we've become addicted to that, and they're going to keep doing that, right? And ultimately, I would believe that there are consequences to this. I am somewhat of a student of economics. I am a believer somewhat of a believer in free market system and what happens in that world. But clearly that time for the consequences is not now, because it's working, right? Look at what just happened in China. The Chinese ETF went up 40% since they came out and bazookaed with this stuff. So clearly it's working for now. When it fails to work, as I've talked about many times, that's when things will become very interesting. But that's not the case just yet. And we haven't even really seen any kind of bazooka needs in the U.S. They're cutting rates for reasons that are somewhat baffling, in particular, even after the non-farm payroll that came out on Friday. But whatever, this is what they're doing because I believe they cannot, and they know they cannot afford recession. So they're going to do whatever it is they need to do to avoid recession. And all you got to do is create liquidity and prices go up, and that's not recession, right? It might be nominal recession, but it's overall, it's not recession. So this stuff is inflationary, clearly, and has been, right? We want to blame, it's hard to argue that the pandemic didn't aid inflationary pressures, but, it feels good to people in the country that, hey, they're printing money and whatever, but then inflation comes and they bitch. But so I really believe this is the issue. And I really believe that there's going to be a consequence at the end of all this. And I really believe I have no idea how long that takes. How long does it take for City Hall to blow up? I don't know. Probably longer than we would think. Ponzi schemes blow up when they run out of money. These people don't run out of money because they just create more money when they run out of it. Obviously, as I've said before, until that money that they create is rejected by the people who are supposed to take it, will be in the form most likely of fixed income securities, right? They will no longer be willing to give you money to borrow in your currency, without being duly compensated for the risk that's being taken on. And look, we're seeing that bonds have come down since the Fed cut 50 basis points. Fixed income, all the fixed income has come down since then. So anyway, that's my thought. I think it's dangerous, but I think fighting it right now is clearly not the answer. But we have to continue watching this. Because it's going to be mega important at some point. And the real test, I believe, will be, should things start to come down in the U.S., like bonds and, God forbid, stocks and all this stuff, then the Fed has to do something in terms of this creating liquidity thing and get aggressive about it and do some bazooka stuff. And let's see how, if and when this happens, let's see how that bazooka works. But that's how, theoretically, if the end is coming, that's how the end will look. Stuff will come down first. They will bazooka it because they have to. And that bazooking will fail. But until that happens, This is the game. It's always been a Ponzi scheme, and it just continues. Okay. So those are my thoughts for today. Not very happy ones, but hopefully helpful. Please like this video if you like it. Please check us out on crowdedmarketreport.com and all of our various outlets for that. Okay. Thank you. Have a good week, and we will talk again soon.